them come. This is their fate.
My Birdman hands in there. All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got quite a bit to talk about. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar put on a halftime show. We're going to talk about that. South of Midnight got some early impressions and thoughts, so we're going to talk about that. New Battlefield footage with the Battlefield Labs. Monster Hunter Wilds performance issues. State of Play just being announced. So we got a lot to get to. So stick around if you want to hear us talk about that. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you been up to, what you been playing, how's life going. Talk to the people.
Shoot, what I've been on.
Yeah, what you been on, G?
I went on a whole adventure, a spontaneous trip.
Oh man, it's always good when those happen. Was it a good trip at least?
No, it was cool. I was like,
Uh-huh.
I got my boy location. I was like, hey, you finna be at home this weekend? Like, I'm here till Sunday. I was like, all right, I'm gonna pull up. He's like, all right, for sure. So I had just flew to Detroit real quick. I ain't never flew to Detroit before from like Chicago. So that was like a interesting experience because they ain't give us no refreshments on the plane. You know what I'm saying? They like, bro, we going right up. Soon as we get the max altitude, y'all can take y'all seatbelt off, do what y'all need to, because we finna put the light back on because we're gonna be descending.
Yeah.
So so I had did that. Like I said, that was interesting. It was cool. It was real spontaneous. I just linked with random people and stuff like that in Detroit. So I went to school with a lot of them. So really last minute, I was at work. You know what I'm saying? It was like 10 o'clock. He said something. I was like, I'm going to see about these flights. And then I had flew there for the free ski. You know what I'm saying? So I came back and yeah, no, that was cool though. I actually ended up missing like the Super Bowl because I was like flying and then commuting and all that type of stuff. So I didn't see it. I seen little clips about some of that type of stuff, but and the symbolism. But yeah, we didn't talk about that. But other than that, just trying to get ready for this run. I think I'm gonna start going back and running again. It's been cold outside, but I think I'm gonna start hitting this treadmill. So I might hit the treadmill a little bit after we finish the podcast. Other than that, still trash at hooping because I ain't been hooping for a little bit of time. I was like, I'm about to pick up for basketball pretty soon again. That's that. I keep saying that, but aside from that, all the family and everybody cool. I'm still trying to beat Metaphor. I'm low key like, I know I'm not finna 100% that game because I don't think I got enough time. I probably missed some stuff to 100% the game, but I'm still going through the little guide thing and I'm still doing a lot of the pieces and stuff. And I'm just looking like, man, what am I doing this for, bro? I'm a 95% this game and they might put me up against one of them extra bosses. I'm gonna have to have the perfect setup and all this type of stuff. And I really ain't got the patience to be doing all that because I feel like at this point in time, I spent at least like a week or some change not really getting no story because I've been going through and doing all these things and it's like little chores and stuff like that. So I don't really feel like I'm enjoying the game as much. Like I ain't even picked that mug up yesterday. I thought about what I had to do on them days. I'm just like, bro, I don't even feel like thinking about that stuff, bro. Because they like tiresome chores and stuff at this point. And I'm trying to really figure out why I'm trying to do it because I'm not finna 100% the game. I'm finna like 95, 98% the game. And then to what avail am I doing that for? So I'm like, I should just go fight the final boss. But I was like, nah, he might scrape me because I seen somebody on the forums talking about like, man, I did all this stuff and I still got waxed. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I was just like, man, hold on, bro, because I might skip through these days and then he might have his way with me. You feel me? So, but other than that, that's what I'm on right now. I'm going to try to get back to it, persevere. I got like 10 days left and then we're going to see what's what. But that's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Josh? What you been up to?
Yeah, so this week, it's Wednesday right now. We had a holiday yesterday, so I just had some time off with the family. Went out with my daughter. We got to hang out with some other families nearby who also got some kids, so they got to play, enjoy their day off from school and stuff. Other than that, I've been catching up on a lot of Super Bowl stuff. I didn't watch it live because I was at work when it was happening because it was morning here. And also, I wasn't really going to watch it live because it's kind of a hassle trying to stream the Super Bowl outside of the U.S. But anyways, I only tuned in for the halftime show, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, watched that. I've been watching a lot of stuff after, and a lot of interviews. So overall, I'd say the show was pretty good. And then as far as game and media, my wife and I, we started watching the Skeleton Crew, which is the Star Wars new TV show. I think it just wrapped up at the end of January. It started in like December. But that's a show with Jude Law. He's a British actor, I believe. He's been in a lot of other stuff. But it's about him. He's a pirate, and then there's like 5 kids that kind of get like stranded on like a spaceship. So it's actually like a kids TV show.
Oh, really?
Or a family TV show because it's still like Star Wars. Yeah, basically they get stranded on the spaceship and they're hanging out.
Is it more Stranger Things kids? Because that ain't really kids, or is it like really kids? More so?
No, they're like 8 years old.
Oh, so like
they're not teenagers. They're like 8-year-olds.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is the concept of the show, because the Stranger Things was like kids, but they were things that happened to them weren't kid-like. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. Is it like that?
Oh, so one, I haven't seen Stranger Things, but no, I don't think Stranger Things is a family-friendly show. This is a family-friendly show,
okay.
More like a Pirates of the Caribbean. Even though Pirates of the Caribbean, they're still fighting and shooting at each other. It's not ever meant to be like gruesome or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or I guess Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park still, is kind of like it's not horror, but it's still a family movie. So yeah, the whole point is this, like, these kids, they're all like elementary school kids. They're all can barely act, but they're funny, they're cute, and it's a fun adventure. They're just kind of stumbling around the galaxy. Pirates are trying to chase them and like put them in jail or stuff like that, because the pirates are real like pirates. They're killing each other, they're shooting each other, they're blowing up ships. But the kids, they're just kids and they're trying to survive. But so far it's been fun. We've watched the first 4 episodes. I guess it's inspired by like a Steven Spielberg type movie, like a E.T. or Goonies or stuff like that. But so far it's pretty fun. And like I said, it's a family-friendly show. One of the kids is like an elephant alien, and so my daughter just loves to see him on the screen. She just scream elephant every time he's on the screen. But yeah, it's a pretty fun show. Other than that, I tried to play a few games. There was one game that had a demo that I booted up. Let me see if I get the name. I think it's called Eternal. 1 second. Eternal Strands. So the only reason I heard about this is that it had some writers that used to work on Dragon Age, and old BioWare. I like their writing a lot. Not necessarily that it was like super I don't know, crazy. It's just when they write characters, it was very good. So if you ever play a game like Mass Effect, it's all about character relationships, and then they're traveling across the galaxy, meeting other people, and all the character dialogue is interesting because they make all the, they got 30 different NPCs, but they make them all feel unique and interesting, and they're not just putting out like just lore for lore's sake. They're saying something important. It's not like a Final Fantasy writer. So anyways, some of the writers worked on this game, Eternal Strands, and it looks cool from the trailer. So I booted it up, and I was expecting more of like a Dragon Age type game because that's what they were looking for. But it's actually more of a, I guess you might not see it from the trailer, it's more of a Tears of the Kingdom like game. Because it's you have a character, they got a sword and a shield, and they're fighting little monsters and stuff. Some of them you can climb up on them. You can climb up any walls.
Yep.
But all the abilities are kind of like Tears of the Kingdom because they're called strands, and you can use them to pick up rocks, sling them across the room. or use ice to make bridges or ice to freeze enemies on the ground. There's like a gravity thing where you can, well, the gravity one is like where you can throw rocks, but you can also use it as like platforming. You can put them on the ground and use them to jump on top of stuff. So it's a game inspired by a lot of stuff that happens in Zelda, Tears in the Kingdom, and it was pretty cool. Like, I like the creativity of having all these different powers and using them in ways that are not just like combat focused just to do damage. Like in the demo, there's a dragon where it's flying around the arena,
Right.
and you can use ice to like freeze it, and its leg will get stuck to the ground, or his wings will get stuck, and it can't flap his wings, so it can't fly. So it has a lot of, I say what they want is a emergent gameplay, or using your own creativity to solve the issues instead of just, hitting the boss with strong attacks. So I think that's cool. Unfortunately, I didn't buy the game for, I guess, 3 reasons. One, it's I think it's $40 in the US. In Japan, it's like 60. So it's a little too expensive than what I want to spend on a type of game right now. 2 is the gameplay is, so even I like Zelda's gameplay, but Zelda can kind of be clunky sometimes, but you get used to it because I say the interactions and stuff are tested very well, and so it doesn't seem glitchy, even though like some of the stuff could be janky. It doesn't feel like overall the game is unpolished. Whereas this one, a lot of the interactions, like the ice and stuff like that, like I can freeze enemies to the ground, but then maybe they might start glitching through rocks or stuff like that, or like jittering around and stuff like that. So it's a little bit like janky for what it's trying to do, but I can kind of forgive it because it's trying to be creative. That's how I was feeling, at least. The sword and shield combat kind of is super basic. I know we talked about South of Midnight, where you said like the combat didn't look like it was satisfying. That's kind of what this game was giving, where it's like the combat isn't all that great when you're hitting enemies, but as far as using the abilities, it's kind of cool. But the other thing is the art style. And I'm gonna wrap it up after here. So if you look at the trailer, it's Unreal Engine game, looks very bright and colorful, and the worlds look good. And I actually like that part. I think graphically it looks really good. 2, it has character art, like 2D character art that you might see it on the Steam page or something like that. Looks high quality. Somebody, very painterly, very Western RPG inspired. But in game, there are 2 different type of cutscenes. One of them is just the character portraits and they're talking. That looks good, and I don't have an issue with that. The other is the animated intro. Animated intro, you might look it up on YouTube or see some reviews. It's awful, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, if you think of like Invincible, like Invincible's art style is very simple. Invincible in itself, he's just a yellow and blue. Not a whole lot of details on his costume, not a whole lot of details on his face, but it's
Right.
very simple. That's the normal art style. The issue is with this one, the animation is super, super cheap. Like they 3 frames a second type. Well, it's not 3 frames a second. It's animated on 3s, which is everybody looks super jittery. The faces look bad. The movement looks bad. They're fighting enemies in the intro. The fighting looks bad. And I would wish that they just didn't include the intro at all. Like, I understand they didn't have the budget for like, super expensive cutscenes, but that one, I'd rather they just not included it in the game. So overall, that made me feel like I'm enjoying the game, but I feel like I need to wait. Maybe they do some updates over time. Maybe the game drops in price, goes on a deep sale. And I'll check it out later, because what I did see, like I said, the world graphically looks good. I liked all the characters that they introduced when I got to town. I got to talk to all of them. The writing seemed very natural, conversations between characters. Yeah, so that's how I felt about that game. It was straight. I'll check it out later in the future, I guess. I
You
was
do
just
know
really
this is on
disappointed
Game
by
Pass, right?
that. I do, but I don't have Game Pass right now.
Oh,
And
okay.
plus, I said I still rather wait. Maybe they do some updates. Maybe they make some changes, because the game just came out. But yeah, it is on Game Pass, so
Gotcha.
that is a way for people to check it out, and maybe like I said, if the price is a sticking point for you, but you're enjoying the game, Game Pass, yeah, it's right there for that.
Gotcha.
What's the game called again?
Eternal Strand.
Strands. So yeah, that's the entry point for me because that's how I downloaded it on my Xbox. So I didn't try it yet, but it's on my Xbox. I was gonna play it a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna play it this weekend. I was gonna just play it on my PC to kind of get some footage of it.
Oh, you saw it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched a few reviews of it. And 'cause I thought the mechanic of climbing on the enemies was cool. So that was really the only thing that I saw that really piqued my interest.
I had some screenshots earlier, just because I ain't got to look up the video. But if you want to see the different art styles and see like how the animated cutscene looks super like basic and cheap, but the rest of the game looks like decent as far as the graphics.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was disappointed by that early on, but it was still interesting enough, like I said, with the creativity and the combat and the gameplay that I do still want to check it out. And people say it's a pretty decent overall. So, but I think that was the only new game that I played. Played some more Marvel. But yeah, not much else to say about that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, for me, I went through and bought Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for the PS5 Pro. There's a few things that you should know about that. The console version, one, there's an audio issue if you have like Dolby Atmos, which I do. You got to go into your PS5 and change your settings because it will, if it's on linear or PCM, it doesn't really understand how to take that format and place it correctly. So it's literally going to default to something that it doesn't understand, because even though if you put it on like the certain audio files, it still will try to do Atmos and it's going to break. So what you actually want to do is go and switch your stuff to Atmos and switch it off, switch it back on, and it should work properly. I no longer had any drops on the audio, so that was a quick fix in case you're running into that same issue. But most people don't play it with surround sound, so it probably doesn't matter to most of you. But if you do, that is a fix. The second thing is they're still heavy on the pop in. PS5 Pro isn't the end all be all. It's the best thing, but it does have pop in that kind of is immersion breaking at some points. But honestly, the game is fun enough that it doesn't really matter. Like, you're literally just playing a medieval times guy. You don't want to be bad because it's very punishing to be bad. I think the game itself really makes you role play what you're playing, and it doesn't really want you to deviate from that, because if you do try to be a thief, you do try to be that, it's very punishing. Like, literally, you steal from somebody, if you wear that armor in front of them, they will know and they will call you on people. You can get branded, you can get killed. So there's a lot of punishment in the game that doesn't allow you to want to kind of go and do stuff, because these NPCs are much smarter than normal. So it's fun because it's kind of like what risk reward, and it also slows down the pace a lot. So I'm literally just trying to run around this city right now and buy some clothes, get some food in my belly, and trying to like figure out how to get to my next objective. And obviously you got to kind of build yourself back up, because there's another situation where you fall down and you now have no stats, you have nothing, and now you got to kind of do that all over again. So really cool game. The funny thing is that the NPCs, all they want you to do is steal and get up to mischief. So you really got to try to figure out, okay, do I do honest jobs and do stuff, or do I just go do the things that they say because I got a quest marker? And sometimes they can put you in bad situations, because regardless of if you turn it in or not, or you got away with it at some point, some people can, like I said, the NPCs are smart enough to kind of figure you out and like put two and two together. Even like you were in there and they didn't see you steal it, but when you come back or you go back into that city, it could be a problem. So I think the game is really dynamic, really cool in that way. I'm reading a lot about it. I haven't played too much of it because, again, I wanted to kind of see what's the most optimal way to play it. But honestly, I think I'm just going and play, and I don't really care what happens, because that's kind of how it's meant to be done. And I think that's what the type of game that they want to create, which is cool. So I'm respect their vision and not look up guides and not look up stuff. Because honestly, I feel like it's a bunch of dynamic things that can happen that's going to make the game either harder or fun or very interesting to see what occurs. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been playing. Outside of that, kids have been great. Super Bowl was cool to watch and stuff like that. Took the kids out to go take some pictures with Bluey. They had a blast, but they had plenty of meltdowns about lollipops and suckers and dropping them on the ground and not being able to have them anymore. So it's a lot of meltdowns in the middle of the library, but they had a blast. I had a blast with hanging out with them and doing that stuff. But outside of that, yeah, playing the game, playing Deliverance, and chilling. Really, I ain't really been doing much else. Making videos and stuff like that. But overall, chilling mostly. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for introductions. Let's get into these games because it did go a little longer than anticipated. Or let's get into these topics more so than anything. Where we want to start? Let's get the non-gaming topic out the way first. I know it's top of mind for me, and kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. What did we initial reactions to the halftime show from Kendrick Lamar?
Oh yeah, what was you saying, Jalen? I heard you saying it was boring.
Yeah, you heard me, man. Drake stand right here, boy. Not just one. Nah, I mean, I didn't watch it, so I didn't. I seen like pieces. I went back and watched the Kendrick part. I didn't watch the full glimpse of everything, and I like went online and read about it. Not really like surprised by anything of it. So, I based on how Kendrick always been, based on how he attacked the Drake versus Kendrick situation, I was expecting this to have like a lot of symbolism and meaning behind it, and I mean he did just that. And I mean I think it was super dope. So
yeah,
okay, so you like the meaning behind it essentially when you looked it up?
Yeah, I like the meaning behind it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what about you, Josh? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I enjoyed it overall. I ended up watching just since I wasn't watching live, I was just watching the clips as they came out, and then eventually when they dropped the full thing, I was able to watch it. Yeah, song wise, mostly a lot of his newer stuff or stuff from last year. Had a couple classics, but mostly in relations to last year, or at least songs that could be interpreted to be about Drake. But like he said in the interview, I think overall it's more about authenticity, and right now Drake is the target. But I was happy with the set. I was happy with the songs. Overall, I like I'd say choreography the most.
Okay.
I think the team between him and the camera work and what they decided to do was good. Because a lot of the Super Bowl performances, when you compare like the camera work and stuff like that, it's not that good. It's mostly somebody in the middle of the stage trying to get all the dancers on screen. But they were able to follow Kendrick pretty well in the frame. And yeah, I can see why he say he does his 6 miles a day. The boy was moving, but still trying to keep up with all them dancers and being on cue. Yeah, overall, I think it was a good performance. I thought that he would do Not Like Us, so I wasn't one of those people who didn't think he would do it. But overall, I was happy with how he approached it, where he addressed some controversy, but said, yeah, I'm still gonna do it. Maybe we got to do a couple edits here or there, but they're tasteful edits. So overall, you still get the feel.
Okay. So I guess since I'm the only one that had a live reaction, and without hindsight, without perspective, I can kind of talk to it from me watching this in the middle of eating food, in the middle of a bad game, talking literally Chiefs getting blown out in the first half. And it was very uninteresting and unmotivating. And moving into that halftime show where I am essentially expecting to get hype and get energized. I thought it did just that, but I have to put the caveat on there. I am a huge GNX fan, like huge. Like that's probably one of my favorite albums from Kendrick. And that's not everybody, because everybody didn't like GNX, or at least didn't like the newer music when that came out, and they felt like, oh, he should play his old stuff. But honestly, I was on the wave of, nah, peekaboo, like play peekaboo there. I want to see you actually do that, and let me see how that runs out. And when he did that, for me, I felt like, it was very much so still the same vibe of what I was expecting from him. I was up dancing, kids were up dancing. I got videos on TikTok of the kids' reaction to this stuff, because what I saw in that set list was his ability to just, provide valuable snippets for each of these songs that really did have impact, and regardless of if they were successes in the market, they were successes in the rap culture, and at least in my opinion they were. Squabble Up, Humble, DNA, Euphoria, that's a big one. You're putting Euphoria, a diss record, in your lineup outside of obviously Not Like Us. It's adding a diss record at the Super Bowl. You added another snippet from a diss record. Man at the Garden, like that is going a cappella, had these dudes in the back just doing their little flute thing. Like those are songs that you're like, yeah, these cuts are, I wouldn't call them deep cuts, but people wouldn't expect this to be your front run for your cataloging experience for everybody. But for me, I was super excited about it. I thought it was really, really cool. First person hit me is Terrence. Terrence said, "This is not it." I said, that makes sense coming from exactly from the perspective of how everybody viewed it. Because if you weren't a big GNX fan and you weren't interested in that, and like being taught something or seeing the symbolism and kind of understanding the message, maybe even a hindsight of it, because you start to appreciate something more as you get hindsight. You start to get more understanding of what it was. But in that moment, you're drunk. You're either not drunk. I don't drink. But if you're just chilling, you're excited, you're having a bad time because the Chiefs are stinking up the place, and you go to that halftime show. I mean, you were expecting to start dancing a lot more, and you're really getting Samuel L. Jackson. You're getting a lot of Euphoria, Man at the Garden. You're getting slower songs like Luther and things like that. It starts to feel like, okay, this is not enough energy. But to me, between the choreography, him doing like the GNX snippet at the beginning, with bodies on bodies, and all that stuff, it just kind of felt like it was the personification of what he kind of always is about. Like, I'm not finna play by y'all rules. I'm not finna do the things y'all think I'm gonna do, and y'all will never put me in a box, because that ain't me anyway. So I just felt like, yeah, this is basically my artist being himself on this stage. But I can also 100% get why someone that is not a fan of Kendrick feeling like it was slow and felt like it was a bad performance. You know what I'm saying? Like, hindsight for both of y'all, maybe that's better to see it in that way, and like, cool, it's actually a lot of symbolism here. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff you should pay attention to. And then there's people that was at the bar. They were just trying to dance and vibe out, and they felt like all you was doing was teasing us about Not Like Us. So I can get their take. I'm not saying it's the right take. I'm not saying that there is a right or wrong here. I'm just saying that there is a duality in message and entertaining, and I think that Kendrick is probably the best one to ever do it, to to bring artistry into the entertainment world in a way that's very fused to the point where you don't really even, you can't just dissect it once to get his messaging and understanding, because it ain't entertainment. It's art, and it's moving art. It's visceral. It's dirty. It's not like clean cut. So I love it. I say all that to say I loved it, but I can also get why other people would have a different opinion. I know y'all was online. What did y'all see out there that was kind of like, or did y'all even see anything that people weren't liking it?
Honestly, no. When I was watching it live, the only, well, certain demographics were saying it was boring. I did see a couple of those, but those are not the people I normally follow anyway, so I didn't, that wasn't my impression.
Right.
I didn't feel like it was boring, or see any of the content creators say it was boring until much later. For me, I was enjoying it. People in my office were talking about it because, like, yeah, it's Gen X. It's mostly new stuff, and if you think of it as like Usher performer or Rihanna or Michael Jackson, yeah, when they go up on stage, you want Michael Jackson to do his classics. However, most artists are going to do the songs that they want to do. They're going to have some newer work that maybe, yeah, you might not be as familiar with. 90s, 2000s Michael Jackson. You might know him from the 70s, but it's not about that. It's about them playing the songs that they want to do because they plan the whole performance. So I'm okay with that. It's because it's not just you go into a concert. You're going there to see a show. So I'm okay with it being a variety or newer stuff focused. And plus, I don't think Gen X is not Miss Morale, so you can't say it's all slow tracks or boring
No, it's
or
not.
anything like that.
Nope.
Like, it's all dance stuff or party stuff, or at least energetic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's West Coast sounding, but it's all energetic music. And like, if you're in a party situation, there's no reason that you can't just have fun to Peekaboo, because it's a fun song.
Right.
And even Man at the Garden, they slowed it down, kind of like a spoken word type vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was the only one. Then Luther. So yeah, overall, I think it was a fun performance. But yeah, like I said, I am biased because I'm a Kendrick fan. I enjoy his music. I know the song that he's playing. But yeah, if it's a artist that you're there and you're not that familiar with, I don't think he did anything that's too unfun. Because even the message stuff was like super passive. Like, it's not like they didn't take a knee. He didn't do Black of the Berry. He didn't do We Gonna Be All Right. He only mostly did stuff in regards to beefing with Drake, or just in general songs and image that he wants to put forward right now, which is all like energetic or aggressive. So yeah, I can see, like, yeah, some people wanted something else, but again, I never expected him to get up there and be like, if all the Bloods and Crips all got along in the middle of the Super Bowl. So yeah, I don't really see what the other side expected, but I can understand if you weren't familiar with the stuff, maybe you weren't vibing as much. But I don't know what the alternative was for a lot of people.
No, I mean, there is a difficulty in the performance in itself, and him having to be able to censor all of this stuff in snippets. He was breaking in songs in the midway points and not really doing like the beginning. He was like doing so much with so little of that time that it's kind of insane. And that's why we, as can be like, dang, this is real art. This is really, really good. But someone, I'm not saying like, that does not, and not saying Terrence isn't, because he does, like, doesn't really care for the artistry of it. It's kind of like, what is he talking about? Why is there so many different mashups going on here? And is this one song? Is this, like multiple songs? But it just felt like it was so, it was like a flow of conscious to me. It felt like that's why he had Sam in there kind of doing like the whole back and forth and trying to, say that this is what happens when you conform. This is what happens when you don't. Very simple stuff to follow, but it does lean more into who Kendrick is as an artist. If you're just viewing it as a entertainment time, oh, this is to have fun, you're really not really getting that whole thing. And I think that is the barrier there. And it's cool to not get it. It's just also, it's definitely not cool to be informed and then to say that it was still bad, because that is the problem I guess I'm getting with it. A lot of people online are still saying like, we don't want the meaning, we don't care. Once we got the meaning, we still think it's bad. I'm like, well, that's kind of different take than I was not expecting a lecture, or I was not expecting a more conscious flow of thought during the Super Bowl halftime performance. But to me, again, hit everything that I was looking for. And it definitely made me feel proud to kind of see it in that way. And I already kind of stated that a long time ago. I think when GNX dropped, that Kendrick Lamar is now my favorite rapper, and probably will be number one rapper for me for a long time to come. So it was kind of one of those things where it's proud to see that like he didn't conform. It was just his vision. His vision was clear. His vision was received. I thought he did a great job. I thought the whole thing was great. The set design, the whole game over with the PlayStation like view, and like playing on like American's great game and conforming to it, the separation of the flag, and obviously seeing both two different sides, like all the symbolism, two different sides of America. The whole Sam as Uncle Sam, it was all just rooted in message, and yeah. Unfortunately, it's at the it's at the fault of, not the fault, but it's kind of like it's all due to Drake and his inability to just take an L. Because I really felt like if he would have just took the L a while ago, I don't think it would have got this big. But it's at the expense of him, where we kind of get the A minor and all that stuff blasting off at the Grammys and all this. I think if he would have just took his L as a normal man, I don't think. I'm not saying that men and women are different, I guess, in taking L's, but this guy definitely seemed like he just couldn't take his L and go home. That it does become this thing now. Like, can he play now like us? Is he going to do it? Like, I don't even think that would have been a conversation if he wasn't throwing lawsuits around. So it is one of those
all the
things.
lawsuits and stuff like that, and
it just made it bigger than what it had to be. And yeah, don't get me wrong, the song is a bop. Talking about a certified bop. Every time it come on, you get the two-stepping, because that's what it is. But I think Drake definitely caused it to be more impactful than it should have been. It's already trending again, number one, due to the fact that it was played, and he obviously beat the world record, or the record for most viewers on there as well. I think he's at 133.5 million. Usher's Super Bowl video was at 33 million over 11 months. He has got at 35 million, and it's one day. So it's kind of one of those things where his impact and everything he was saying, you can't fake it. You can't fake influence. You just can't fake numbers. Like that's just not it. It's just as impactful, dude. He's literally the top. I guess he also just did that whole top Spotify rapper most monthly listeners right now as well. He just beat the record off Drake. It's like this isn't made up. This isn't fake. People resonated with his message, not only with his message, but with what he was stating. Because one, he's a great rapper. Two, he knows how to perform. And three, Drake made it easy. That was it. That was it. It's not like it was hard. It's not hard to understand here. So I do think that that the performance was really great. Any thoughts around the performance or anything y'all want to add?
No, and I'd say it's the first solo rapper we had. Do
Yeah,
the Super Bowl, not the first rapper to be on the stage, but the first solo act. And I think there's always going to be a challenge is when you have like solo rappers, because like honestly, I was trying to think like what would it be like if Lil Wayne was up there? Not Lil Wayne specifically, but he was in the conversation for a while. But like, yeah, he probably play Lollipop, but if he mostly focus on newer stuff, people will probably also have issue with that because, like, Lil
yeah,
Wayne, people want to hear 2008 Lil Wayne. They don't want to hear 2024 Lil Wayne. Most people, right? He got
right.
his core fans. They'll like the newer stuff. But yeah, overall it was good. And it's rap, so some people just don't like rap in general, and that those voices are gonna be on the internet. So yeah, I think overall it was a solid performance. It was interesting. Like I was thinking, even like if I was there with somebody like in my family who don't really listen to rap, like maybe it's a grandma or auntie or uncle or something like that. I think visually the show was just still interesting, like
Yes.
trying to figure out what all the dancers are doing, what everybody going about. So yeah, overall I think it was a solid show.
Yeah. No, it was the first time I realized that it was not meant for the people in the stadium. It's meant for me and the people
Yeah.
at home. That's the first time I realized that. I was like, this is really not for them. This is for the people here and like all these different, like everything else felt like a stage. That felt like a show. It's different. So, it's different. That's all I
Yeah.
can say on it.
They bought
Uh,
tickets to to the game, not the show, even though the show
yeah,
is there. You know.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, that was pretty cool to see, pretty awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Kendrick do next. To be honest, um,
Oh, I guess I asked real quick. There's a lot of rumors that he got more music. Were you expecting anything new after the Super Bowl?
um, maybe a B side of GNX. I think
Hmm.
12 is a little short of songs. I think that he's got plenty more in the tuck that he could probably drop a deluxe or maybe even a B side of it that um people will resonate with as well. I don't think it has to do um nearly as good as a GNX did. I just think it's more of a catalog to kind of put out there and um allow. I think stamping GNX at the Super Bowl is as big as it's going to get. So I think it might be time to, because it just came out. It wasn't like that long ago. Anyway, it was November 22nd. But maybe providing a little bit more music on that end. I would hope so, but he doesn't really have to right now. He's got so much out and so much going for him momentum wise. He just got to finish his tour, and then if he decides to do something else, he can really. I think he can. It's crazy that he's done so much in such a short period of time that I feel like he can go away for another 2 years and not do nothing and be okay. But and that's not, and I don't want him to be dictated by Drake doing something either. So I don't think Drake is prepared or even willing to go back into that arena. But if he did, I think that would escalate our timeline. It would basically accelerate it versus what are you going to do now? I think he's going to be another 2 years before we get something from him. That's what I think.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
it could be. But like you said, I think he's got music and he could capitalize on the just momentum, just have more going into the tour.
yeah,
But I think we might hear more singles or like more one-off songs. But if not a whole album, yeah, maybe it could be too soon.
yeah. Like he didn't even drop that snippet. It's still not out. Like that snippet of Bodies, like, he didn't drop that song yet. So, um, he played it at the Super Bowl, but he never. It's not out. So it's just a snippet on YouTube. The full song
And
is
even
not out. Yeah.
yeah.
So okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our normal gaming topics. I know you guys been waiting for it, but let's let's talk about this first because I wanna um I guess I kind of want to get your perspective on the console sales at this point now. 30 million sold for Xbox Lifetime, Xbox Series, and then 65, 66 million as of November 2024. This is information I think they got from Rockstar Publishing, not Rockstar, but who is the parent company? Is it Take-Two? It's Take-Two, right?
Yeah.
Take-Two Publishing. Yeah, I think that's what they got this information from, because they were talking about how many consoles are out there and how they feel like they're going to do. So this is one of those things where information got out, basically. I mean, I guess let's talk about one, the difference between how many was sold on Xbox, how many sold on PlayStation, and then let's talk about currently in year 5. This is the numbers. How long did it take? Because it didn't take that long for Nintendo to get to like 100 million. Was it? How long did it take? I guess I gotta look it up. Like 100 million code. So, because is 65 million a lot to y'all? Is 30 million? I think 30 million is low. What is a good number of consoles sold? I don't even know.
In 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
I think maybe 60 is the number. I would say between 60 and 80, because the PS3 and Xbox generation, they all got close to like 90 to 100 million. And the PS4 in its lifetime, and that was an extra long generation, it did like 120 or something like that, I think. So if the PS4 did 120 in like 7-8 years, in about 4 to 5, 60 is okay. It could be a little bit slow, but I personally think this generation is kind of winding down, so it might be low overall, like maybe never reaching 100 before the next stuff is out. But yeah, 30 is really low, because I think the Wii U only did maybe 25, 30 max in its whole lifetime. So yeah, it's still a low number overall, especially when the competitors doing double.
Oh, did they really sell that much? Yeah, they sold.
Oh, the Wii U actually 14. So
yeah, it's like 14.
I think the GameCube might have did 30.
Dang.
I wonder how much the PS4. PS4 was pretty big, right?
Yeah, 20.
117 million.
Yep, just about 120.
Yeah. Do y'all think it's gonna? I mean, because this, like the biggest time that they sold a lot was when GTA was coming out, 2016, and I think that was a GTA like. That was just no, 2016 was I think I'm trying to remember what game came out in 2016. I guess my question to y'all is, do y'all think that their GTA will shift more consoles? Basically, as I'm trying to get to, is as they believe, that's what Take-Two believes. Take-Two believes that it's going to shift a ton of new consoles on the market. What do y'all think?
So just to confirm, GTA 6 is not coming to PS4, right?
Correct. It's only coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah, I think it will sell. I think because of inflation and high prices, personally, I don't think it will maybe I'll put it, reach all of their target numbers. I think monetary wise, it will break records, but I don't think it will double the PS5 sales or something like that crazy. Just because systems are a lot more expensive now, and I think people will buy it, but they're gonna maybe not need it day one. Personally.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess I wanted to bring this up. One, to kind of say, Xbox has always been doing poorly in console sales. That's probably more so why they want to get, their games on everything, because they haven't really been selling that well. And you only have leverage in the gaming and publishing developer community if you actually have a base of people who want to play their account on your console. And it has always been aggressively hard for them to even get people to want to develop for their console. Now that your player base is dwindling, it's even worse. But they can throw a lot of money around, and they can boast on the PC metrics using their Xbox app. That's why Game Pass is so important for their strategy, because that is their true metric for how many people are playing their games. They don't really care about the console anymore, like in a way where you would think, oh, this is how many people actually are we're touching. This is the amount of people that we can get in front of. No, it's how many people on Game Pass is really what they're trying to get in front of. Of course, they still prefer hardware and their cloud gaming metrics and all that, blah 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 blah. But I think Game Pass is the downright metric that, and above all else, is the one that they're looking at. And they obviously need those subscriptions to grow. So for me, the 30 million wasn't a shocker. Obviously, it's always been a problem for them. But what it told me is that 65 million is not a lot on a PlayStation side either. It does feel like, because I'm talking, when you're like 5 years in, I would expect you to be around that 80 mark, 70, 80, as you stated, versus lower than that at that 65 million.
Yeah, because I think so sorry to interrupt. So Nintendo with the new Switch, like they're giving their projections, like they're hoping to move like 15 to 20 a year. And I
Yeah.
think when your console has like a lot of momentum, that's the expectation, that you can move 15 million to 20 every year. And I think with the PS5, yeah, 60 million is definitely shy of that number. I don't know if it's because of at the beginning they couldn't do 20 million in the first year, or if demand has fallen off now that they're more available. But yeah, it's looking more like 10 to 15 a year, which is still, good, and it's still a lot better than its competitor. But yeah, I think that's why they came out with the PS5 Pro so soon, because they're not going to be able to stretch the console generation out as long, because the demand might not be that high.
Yeah. And I felt like that does tell me a lot about console gaming in general. A lot of people are just finding alternatives. A lot of people are looking elsewhere, and they're not seeking the consoles per se as their main gaming platform anymore. I do know that the PC is getting bigger and being more accessible, and it does a lot more. And a lot of these companies and streamers are influencing people to, get OBS, do these certain things. Like, the kids are looking at these people, and they're not necessarily playing all their games on consoles. But I do want to still say that at least the impact, at least 65 is better off than 2 million to 3 million consoles sold a year. And that's where we're sitting at with Xbox. Like, it's not great. It's not great. So what I can say at least is that for the time being, exclusives do sell consoles. And I'm expecting for this big GTA 6 one to push both up and kind of boast their numbers. Determining how much that'll be is kind of up to people's ability to wait and not really care, performance at the beginning of the game's life cycle, and then where that looks like. So some people just aren't going to be interested. It's not going to be a lot. Everybody's interested in GTA. It's just that some people can wait and were willing to wait, and they expect there to be a PC release, because that is abundantly clear that they do release on PC now. And with those different amounts of, for them leveraging that's the biggest mainstay. I'm truly interested in seeing like the impact of that, because that will tell me where the market is in regards to exclusivity and where
Yeah, do you think it's because we have a lack of, I guess, must-have console exclusives? Like,
yes.
back during PS4, yeah, we had Destiny, which was a console seller on its own, and then a bunch of other games that would come out every year or so that were console exclusives that everybody had to have uh, at that time. Whereas like this generation, I definitely, especially because of like the ports to PC, so maybe God of War is your console seller, but the vibe is I can wait and save $500
Yeah.
if I wait a year.
Yeah, it's kind of like definitely one of those things where you're looking at that and you're looking at the consistency of the Nintendo Switch and how their exclusives are consistently keeping them high on that list of consoles sold, and the exclusivity seems to work, right? Obviously they're playing a different game, Microsoft and Sony, because they have to spend so much more to satisfy the consumer for their games. But Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo just has to continue to do what they do best, and that's make games that are interesting and engaging in the gameplay, and stuff like that. They don't really need to care about story or all that other stuff. It's not a point for them. The point is to have great music, good gameplay. Like they got that in the bag, plenty of them. So when I look at, okay, when did these have spikes? It does fall around times when they have good exclusives, and it tells me, okay, well, great, this market is still looking for those exclusives, but how impactful does the drop off on the amount of consoles being sold really impact a big game like GTA? Because I like I said, I do think it's going to be interesting to see the numbers at the end of the day for what GTA sells. I'm buying it day one. I don't know if you guys are buying it day one, but there's a difference in like when and how these games are now being shifted or moved, and people's people's ability to wait has become better, and it's increased. There's not like this fear of missing out anymore. There's this level of feeling that these games are either being underperforming anyway, and that it's better to wait because our console market is becoming more like the PC market, where you probably going to have a better experience if you wait than actually buying it day one. Then that, like I said, that the level of FOMO is starting to decrease, So I'm very interested in that. Xbox, yeah, just do better. I don't know what you really can do to sell more consoles, but those type of numbers will definitely get you overlooked. Will definitely get you to be less of a priority, and that's probably why most of the sweet, cool tech things that they do aren't being truly taken advantage of, because nobody cares. Like, bro, you're only gonna sell like 2 million on your console anyway. That is a problem. They need to fix that. They need to solve for that, and they need to definitely, because 30 million is a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot. I'm just saying that it ain't 65, and it for sure isn't what they normally should be projecting in the year 5. So I'm hoping that it looks better in the future. Any thoughts on that? Anything that didn't cover on that one?
No, but yeah, they're gonna need more GTAs, more Zeldas to get those numbers up. Because Nintendo, that's how they've been doing it. But is it number one, the Switch? I think it's either number 2 or number 1 as far as total lifetime sales for consoles.
I think it's number 2. I think it's still behind I think it just passed the PlayStation X2. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it passed the PS2.
Yeah. So it's definitely up there. And that's all I've been off exclusives, because I ain't played nothing else. After I bought it, I bought Zelda and Zelda again, and then I bought Mario Odyssey. And the only reason I bought it is because I wanted to play those games. And yeah, it does sit here and collect dust most of the time, but they got my money at the beginning, and I think it was basically due to the fact of, having a valuable um proposition, which is I want to play that game, and that's the only way I can play it. So
Yeah.
I think there's value there still. And I really hope that I understand that it's probably going to be better for the market, especially with the higher cost of all these games. But they got to survive the whole transition. I don't know. I don't know about that. So the halftime. We talked about the halftime. We talked about Xbox. Now let's move into something a little bit more PlayStation. State of play. As you all know, there's going to be a state of play tomorrow. So the same day that this goes out, there's going to actually be the state of play. So basically everything I say here, it either be right or wrong, in a very quick fashion. So whatever, but I'm still going to make these, crazy, predictions that I might not be right on. But let's talk about it. State of play. They got 40 minutes on the board. It's going to be talking about PS5 games. What do y'all think they open with?
What they open with?
Yeah.
I'd say so. Personally, I think that this state of play will be the biggest that they want have of this year. Because like looking at the past state of plays, January is usually the biggest one as far as like first and third party games that they announce.
Yeah.
I don't know what they'll open with exactly, but I think it will be either some first party or something third party from somebody big like Kojima. Last year, I think the first thing they showed was Death Stranding, and so I think this year they will open up with something big. I don't think Ghost of Yotei will be first. I think that's the game that they will show last. But yeah, I would say a big third party exclusive.
Do you think it's an L to show more Death Stranding?
No, I think it's a big game as far as technology, and they want to show it off because they got that partnership with Kojima, and if you got him making exclusive, might well use that boost. But I think we need gameplay personally for it, even though I guess we know what the gameplay is like from the first game. He needs to show improvements. I think Kojima we tired of seeing trailers.
But you don't want to see the photo booth no more? The photo booth was going crazy. Yeah. It was technically cool, but I think that it was pretty silly to be sitting there taking pictures and that's the demo. At least
show how you're pushing the gameplay tech wise. I know that they said they're doing a lot of stuff as far as the weather system and like water flowing through the environment and stuff like that. So if he could show that off while doing his crazy story trailers, that'd be good. If it's anything less than showing gameplay, I think it will personally be a L.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't want to see Death Stranding. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm cool on buying it because I liked the first one, crazy as that sounds. But I did like it. I liked just running around, being a delivery man. It was really cool, and like the journey of just getting somewhere is really the main game. It's not really about anything else. And I thought the cutscenes were really done well, to the point where I didn't follow the story, but I thought it was cool to watch unfold. And then I watched some deep dives in that, and then I understood a little bit more, but I was like, this is still silly. So, but I'm interested in seeing what happens next. I think he has a great eye for production and just making cool stuff. So I like it. But I would think that it'd be an L because I've seen it so much now. I'm kind of over. That's another 40 minutes, and they don't give them less than 5. That's 35 minutes now. They ain't gonna give them less than 5. So I'm not interested. I think they're gonna start off with Wolverine, to be honest. think Wolverine has leaked. Insomniac is not making anything for Spider-Man 2. And they need a win right now. But honestly, I think it's going to be an L. I'm not going to lie. You know why I think it's going to be an L? Because Marvel, in the eyes of the people right now, isn't doing so hot. Even if it is Wolverine, if it's totally different, it's not even Disney related. I think people have come to the conclusion that Sony is making bad deals with these Wolverine and Marvel games to the point where they don't even want to see them no more. I legit think that Insomniac's next game being anything Marvel related would be a bad idea. I genuinely believe that. I'm not saying that because I just played Spider-Man 2 and I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't love it. I'm just saying that because I think this formula is stale, and Spider-Man obviously is a totally different game in how it's been done. But I think Insomniac is still Insomniac. You're going to carry over some of that stuff because you're trying to, one, save on budget. Two, you can't reusing assets. Ain't nobody that ain't shied upon. Everybody do it. and three, it's already expensive enough. So I think that they're going to be forced into buying into doing another Insomniac game, another Marvel game, and I think it's going to feel too samey. And that's going to be the unfortunate part, because I think that Insomniac is a great developer. I think they're amazing. Honestly, I think they're one of the best. But it's going to put a lot of people off of what the true experience of what Insomniac are trying to put forward, because they're going to feel like, one, it's just another superhero game, and two, people are tired of the superheroes. Like, if you're not doing some timepiece like Fantastic Four in the movie theaters, like, I'm almost certain the new Captain America is gonna bomb. And I'm not trying to be mean. I can see the writing on the wall that even if it is exploring something different in a different way, that it's problematic because people have lost interest in that type of superhero story. And maybe Wolverine is a timepiece, but it didn't seem like that from the gameplay that leaked. So I don't know. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think well, I guess I said my piece about Wolverine. If y'all got anything to rebuttal that, sure. But I also wanted to get Jalen what his thought was on the first game they're going to show.
I'm not even entirely sure.
Man, they got plenty in the catalog. What you thinking?
Man, I don't know. Like, what? All right. So I know you said a lot. For which showing is it for specifically?
It's for it's their state of play. Basically, it's like a 40-minute 40-minute video or 40-minute video where they talk through some third-party stuff. It didn't say it focused on third-party. It didn't set the expectations like we're going to be focusing mostly on third parties. It literally didn't say any of that stuff. So that gives me the impression that they're going to try to get out some new games upcoming on the PS5 that they haven't talked about recently, and games that they have either shown off or have announced but haven't provided any further details. And, games like Ghost of Yotai, Wolverine, maybe something new from Santa Monica, Intergalactic, which is the new Naughty Dog. And then we got, some multiplayer games, so they could be talking about Marathon here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what they would try to show, like what would be the first game that they'd show off. I mean, like you said, I feel like they hit a lot on the Marvel stuff. I mean, people tired of it. I'm curious to see if they would throw Forza in there to some capacity.
Just to say that it's coming.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, we got this too now. You know what I mean? But
I
I
don't think
wouldn't
they
be
want to pay for
surprised
it
if
now.
they actually did that. But
Yeah.
I don't really have like a specific game that they would probably show first. I would think that they would just save like the bigger one, like the Ghost of Yotai. I feel like that one probably be like somewhere in the middle to recapture people's attention, or
Yep.
somewhere like towards the end where they want to like, hey, like, we still going out with a bang. But as far as like the first game that they gonna show, I mean, I don't even.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't really know.
I think a key thing that I'm looking for here is if they're showing like Monster Hunter Wilds, I already know what type it's gonna be. It ain't gonna be interesting. If they showing like anything that's like we've seen a bunch on or seen a bunch on or seen a lot of footage on, it tells me that they really don't have much to show. But if we're seeing brand new games mostly and there's nothing like or at least new footage of those games, that are clearly first party, not third party. I think that is the showcase I'm looking for. So, I do expect Wolverine or Intergalactic to be the first game to show. I do expect, or it could be the last, but I think they're going to start that way because they want Ghost of Yotai to probably have a longer time to kind of be explained and like be the final thing people are thinking about because they might want to have pre-orders start or whatever at the end. And I do think that Santa Monica might have something to share. I'm not saying it's going to be something big, but I think they're going to have something to share. Um, and then finally, I don't think there's any more studios out there that we are not aware of what they're working on. But any other studios that may not have, like Marathon would be a big one to have there because that's what they're looking for, a multiplayer win, and Bungie needs more. Bungie just needs help. They need help with their ability to produce money for the business. They haven't done so. So I think that being a bigger showcase or a bigger viewpoint or lens, I think that's the good thing to go about it. I don't know. I just think that that's what's going to happen. But if we're seeing a bunch of third party stuff, we're seeing a bunch of things that we probably, didn't need to be on that stage. It does tell me where this is going to be leaning. And unfortunately, that's not going to be a good state of play. But we'll see. Like, honestly, they have plenty of stuff to show at this point. It's whether or not they're going to willing to show it in the time framing of all this stuff, because most of those games aren't going to be seen for another couple of years. So it's really tough there. I don't think they want to sit much time on trying to sell the PS5 Pro. I think they have plenty of time to do that, so I don't really expect them to be doing that. But again, it's Sony. They do a lot of weird stuff. So it could be that, but the people that wanted to buy a PS5 Pro bought a PS5 Pro. It's really now the people that trying to use this time to make everybody mad again because they already are mad about the price and not having a disc, and having to buy a disc tray or disc drive separately. I wouldn't bring that up. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the state of play. I really don't have any thoughts around the games. And maybe I'll open that up to you guys. Like, which one are you guys most so anticipating, or what do you even think it's going to be what game do they have right now that intrigues y'all? Because there's plenty for me, but I feel like Sony hasn't made a game for you guys in a while. So is there a game on this list that y'all are interested in seeing?
I mean, I guess the Ghost of Yo. I mean, I would give that game a try, the Ghost of Yotai. Just because I still need to beat Ghost of Tsushima. Is we ever gonna beat that? The world may never know, but I mean, but I am at least interested in that game because I'm hoping that they can build on some of the things that y'all criticized Ghost of Tsushima about. But in all honesty, man, I feel like a lot of the PlayStation games, you're gonna get that cinematic experience, and it gets to the point where you feel like you kind of watching a movie, and if you kind of know what they expect, then it just makes it a little bit harder to buy. I never felt like, I ain't gonna say never, I just felt like I played enough of the PlayStation games between the PS3, 4, and 5, I'm like, hey, I'm not super compelled to get those games, and how you have those feelings towards like the new Spider-Man game you played. I feel like I'm gonna feel like that in a lot of the PlayStation games that I do play. So that's kind of how I've been feeling lately, and that's why I'm not like, I ain't bought no PlayStation game for real. So
Well, if they put that budget into a turn-based RPG, would that
I mean, if
intrigue
they
you?
put it into it would. I just felt like I need a game that's gonna make me use my brain in some capacity. Otherwise, I'm gonna disengage from the game.
Don't do that.
Like,
No, he said.
like,
Don't be disrespecting no PlayStation, no ponies, man. They said what? Use my brain.
bro,
I use my brain all the time. When I'm hitting circle, circle, X, X. I'm hitting that circle,
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 X, X, do the
circle, circle,
combos,
square, square.
hit the reaction button so
Oh my
somebody swing
god.
on you.
I was so mad
Like,
about that
yeah,
Spider-Man. I was like, bro,
yeah,
this is
bro.
brain dead gameplay.
But that's why I like Horizon though. You have to take in consideration the weaknesses, tear up the armor, certain
Yeah.
things work on certain enemies. Like
Uh,
those RPG aspects, you're like, I wonder if I do this, will it make it a little bit better? Dang, I'm really stuck here. Let me
yeah.
try potentially doing this. Only time when I felt like that, or games I felt like I was stuck. Okay, Uncharted, right? All right, I'm
Yeah.
playing on a harder difficulty. I'm stuck. Well, instead of going to this barricade right here, let me try hiding behind this barricade because the armor dude like to come out this side. Maybe
Yeah.
it give me more time to take him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just nuances. Like versus like I'm playing metaphor. All right, well, I use my turn to attack this dude. Okay, so maybe if I do this instead, I can do a little bit more damage, and then you know what I'm saying, you start thinking about those things and it make it a little bit more engaging versus like, I mean, you like even you like to play the game on a harder difficulty sometime. Like, I don't need artificial difficulty where y'all just doing stupid stuff to make the game hard. So that's on a tangent. But to answer your PlayStation question, I need more than an action adventure game with cinematic cutscenes and with good graphics and stuff. I need something that's gonna make me use my brain because we all got problems with falling asleep on games at this point. So, and we speaking that meaning we really fall asleep on games. Like, we got time for it, bro.
Yeah, I was definitely sleepy souls on that Spider-Man a few times. I was like, dang. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to say Spider-Man is a bad game. It's just not for me no more. I felt like
I mean, you know what they expect. You played a
gameplay
game similar to that before.
Yeah, the gameplay was too similar to stuff I played before, and at that point, I just felt like, yeah, they need to kind of revamp this. This ain't it no more. So,
yeah. I mean, you only got so much time, bro.
That's true. What about you, Josh? Anything on the list that you're looking forward to or would like to get more information on? Floor is yours.
No, not really. Ghost of Yotei is unfortunately the only game that from a Sony first party studio that I will possibly care about. Just because I think what the team did the first time was great as far as the world, and I want to see what they can do, with the new console. I don't know if I will finish it because the first game I might get tired of the open world stuff unless they can innovate on it somehow. But other than that, no, not really. Like I liked God of War 2018. I want to play Ragnarok at some point, but I'm in no rush to see the end of the story right now. Same thing with all the other Sony franchises. Like they're all different games, but they have a similar vibe and a similar pacing that I'm personally just not into right now. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, Wolverine could be cool, but they gotta wow me because right now I don't care about Wolverine. I don't care about any of their other stuff, unfortunately. And they're successful. They have a formula that works, and it can work in different type of games. But it is still a formula, and it's starting to, for me, I'm tired. That being said, they do still do partnerships with third party studios. They might be exclusive or they publish it like Bloodborne or something like that. They might surprise me with a game that's outside of their formula that I could be interested in. But if it's just Sony Santa Monica or God of War, I don't really care.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, cool. I mean, that's all I had on that. So let's go ahead and keep chucking along here, and let's move into the new Battlefield footage. I'm gonna let you talk about this, Josh. Hopefully, you have more to add than I, because really, All I got is a few images and a few snippets. I don't even know what Labs. I can read what Labs is about if you prefer that. But what have you seen about your favorite franchise? Say, a good franchise, a franchise you like.
So to be fair, I was looking up old Battlefield games last week just because
okay.
I haven't actually played most of them. Like I played a little bit of multiplayer, like Battlefield 3 back in the day, but I never actually played through most of those games. Like campaign or just like in general, really got into them. I played 2048 just because it was on Game Pass. It was fun. I liked the updates they did to the movement and the weapons. So yeah, I'm interested in Battlefield 6, and so they had like a teaser documentary that came out this week, mostly just talking about all the studios working on it, and it seems like EA is going all in on Battlefield 6. They got like 7 studios working on the game. I don't know if it's going to have a campaign, but the last couple Battlefields, or at least the last Battlefield that came out, did have a campaign. So I don't know what they're going to do with this one. I think they need a win because Battlefield is a big franchise, and I think it has fallen off recently, which was a surprise because it used to be like neck and neck with Call of Duty.
Yep.
So as far as Battlefield 6, they didn't actually show a whole lot of gameplay other than it's a modern focused Battlefield, which the last modern Battlefield we got was 4, I think, and that was a while ago, maybe like 2013 or something like that. But yeah, it's modern focus. You can see modern buildings, like somewhere in the middle. Modern weapons, which will be good because a lot of people, I guess, didn't like the futuristic aspect of 2048. I thought it was cool, but yeah, some Battlefield purists probably don't like it. But Battlefield Labs is what they announced, which is basically a extended playtest / beta phase of what they're doing. You can get into Battlefield Labs, play the game early, give your feedback. They probably want to get some content creators in there as well to drum up some hype. That's going to run for, I don't know if it's continuous, but it's going to be live for a couple months at least, and before the game is out. I think they announced this year's what they're aiming for. I don't know if they gave a timeline, but they're looking to release this year, but at least an extended beta session. What does that mean? That means that they need playtesters and that they want people to play the game for free because they don't want enough pay more playtesters. Because every Battlefield game since Battlefield 4 has come out buggy, janky, and then they patch it for 2-3 years, and then the game is finally done and the way it should have launched. So now you get to play the game for free. They don't pay you, but you playtest it. You write bug reports, and they get to fix their game before it comes out. That's what it is to me, which is cynical. I think EA is a big enough company. They can just hire more people, but they don't want to do that. So they letting the community do it for free.
Playtest their game.
Y'all tell us what y'all want, bro.
Y'all tell us what we want. Tell me what y'all want. What y'all really want. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
And there's always some sort of phase like this for video games. Like that's the whole point of a beta, to get feedback. But this is an extended beta, so basically you should be an EA employee. Put it on your resume if you play in Battlefield 6 every week and sending bug reports. So that's what I think about the Battlefield. What do they call it? Portal or
Labs?
Not Portal. Yeah, Battlefield Labs.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the games do need help. They always launch janky, and they always have a long development cycle of fixing stuff, and that I think has damaged his reputation. Because like we were looking at 2048 like when it was announced, and it looked cool.
Yeah.
But then we played like the beta, and it was buggy and janky.
Yes, it was.
And we just didn't buy it. Eventually, I went back to it, and I loved the game. It was really fun. But yeah, if it's not ready day one, I'm just not gonna buy your game. So,
yeah, it's kind of one of those
and
things.
Unfortunately, Call of
right.
Duty doesn't have those issues with multiplayer. Like they don't have a buggy launch. Like it just comes out, it works, and then like maybe eventually you might see some glitchy guns or stuff like that.
Some cheats.
But, like day one, yeah, the game is working.
Yeah.
So Battlefield needs to figure that out. and stop with these awful launches. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Games never look done, even back in the 360 days. I'm like, I can just look at a game and tell us like Dice is somewhere in the vicinity, bro. I'm like, Dice, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Like, where you at, Dice? This is a Dice subsidiary right here. We not Dice, we Ice. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just dropped the D and we're a subsidiary. Like, and I'm like, bro, I know y'all ain't here, bro. I know it. Trying to hide. They be trying to hide, bro. I'm like, man, that's not gonna work, bro. Try again.
Yeah.
Just tell by the game the way it's played, bro.
What I will say about 2048 is why I liked it, I guess, because they changed so much about the game in those however 4 years it's been out, I think, where like they redid all the maps, like completely changing maps, removing buildings, changing lanes, adding tunnels and all type of stuff. And like I think that type of dedication to the game is cool. I would like to see a lot of other developers do that type of stuff where it's like, this map is not fun, so please fix it. If it was Bungie, they'd just take it out of the game and you never see it again. But like, you know, maybe add a door so the game flows better or something like that. So it was cool to see them improving on the game. I just hope that they are able to launch day one where it's okay. So I can come to y'all on the podcast, say Battlefield 6 is fun. And so I ain't got no excuse to play it because it's on EA Play. So hop on, Deontay. But if it's buggy, then all the Battlefield hope is out the window and we're going back to Apex.
Yeah. And I ain't finna let Jalen get that Dice comment off. He loved the finals, and that's not a subsidiary of Dice, but they were like developers.
It's people who used to work on
it.
I'm already knowing. I was literally listen, hold on, check. I literally was playing the finals yesterday. I was like, man, this game just looked like Mirror's Edge, bro. Mirror's Edge. EA? Dice? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro, they all look the same, bro. That didn't go unscathed, bro. I literally made a comment about that yesterday, bro. I'm like, man, this Mirror Edge looking game, bro. Like these no textures, bro. These they look like stained colors, bro. I just like, man, but this game fun. I ain't gonna cap.
All right. Well, I guess you put two and two together.
Bro, that game, that game ain't exciting.
He's talking about the generic builders or generic.
Man, what? Bro, that game
had nothing in them, bro.
That's why I told y'all, like, y'all like this game? It's empty. They all the same.
It had good music, bro. It had good elevator.
Good music. He said this game kind of tight. He was loving it.
It is. That game trash, but it's kind of cool at the same time, bro.
Charging through the walls with the tanks.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, man, these unrendered characters running around, bro. Like, trying to jump through buildings, bro. I don't know how many times I try to bolt through a window and he just slide to the side and just hit the wall. I'm like, bro, you didn't get through the window. Like, that was the whole point, bro.
Yeah. But okay, well, Battlefield Labs is available for people to sign up, so check it out. Spaces are limited, but they will allow you to get a job with no pay. Have fun. But let's move on. South of Midnight. So it's an anticipated game for me. It's not highly anticipated, but it's definitely anticipated. It's one of those games where I am interested in more so in the story development and like the characters than the actual gameplay. And what I could see from South of Midnight, from the early impressions of it, because I didn't get the early impressions. I was just reviewing people's commentary and thoughts around their early impressions. But what I can see is that the sentiment is that, at least from what I gathered from the people I watched, is that the game itself, the gameplay may have some issues. There may be some performance issues, but the story and the world development is top tier. I don't know if I would give that a pass if it wasn't on Game Pass, to be honest. But I will give it a pass today because literally, they still have time to make the game run better. I can play it on a PC if I wanted to. which will obviously allow it to run either better or worse. Just depends. I'm gonna try both and see how it goes, because that's unfortunately that's the world we live in today. But that can mitigate the issues if there was any like performative issues on these base consoles. But then again, I'm only there for the story anyway. So it's hard to like judge a game before it comes out. So I'm not judging it. But what I can say is that if you're going to be playing South of Midnight, be conscious of one, this is a heavily story-driven game. Like the creative director, the person that wrote the book, I believe, is like the creative director. And he is obviously shaping the story and kind of helping with the development of it. But story first, really. Gameplay second. Gameplay is, from what I've been hearing, it's passable. There is some difficulty spikes in places. There's maybe some unfinished move sets or components to it that people are pointing out, but it's serviceable. It's going to be able to get you from point A to B. There's a lot of platforming involved in the game, and Skill Up was kind of basically comparing it a lot to Psychonauts. I like Psychonauts a lot. I didn't finish it, but I like Psychonauts as a game, and a concept. So it's tough because I didn't finish Psychonauts because I didn't care for the gameplay. And it's tough to say I'm going to finish South of Midnight because the gameplay isn't great either. So it's tough. Like, I'm not saying I'm not interested in like trying it out and seeing how it goes. I just want that experience to actually be captivating in more fronts than just the story, because the story can be great, like Psychonauts too, but that gameplay is what's really going to keep me around to get through that story. So it gotta be both. It gotta coincide. It can't be one or the other, man. I'm sorry that people feel like that way. It can be like that now, but there's a lot of times where, like Spider-Man, story was great. I was having a lot of fun. Every time I started to get control and had to play gameplay, I was like, bro, this is crazy. I really don't want to do this right now. So I literally did no side content. I did none of that, because this is the type of situations where it creates a level of uninterest in the gameplay. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance, heavy on the gameplay. The story is fun and engaging too. I want to see what happens next, but the gameplay is what's keeping me around. Like, dang, I really can get messed up for doing this. This really gonna mess me up for just doing this. And it's like that type of dynamic gameplay is like, it's so great to see when those types of things win, because it showcases what you surely can do with the indie development. I'm not saying that they're on the indie level, but you know, that game budget wasn't as great, as big as everybody thought, and they already made their money back on it. So it's one of those things where, yeah, if you take the time to develop and create new ideas, innovative things, that's not just on the story side, there could be a way for you to stick out. Now, the stop motion stuff, very cool, very unique. So I'm interested in just seeing how they play on that puppetry and stop motion type gameplay. And I'm interested in seeing what they do with the story, but I really do want that gameplay to take me with it. I don't really want to fall off on it because I'm not interested in what the game is actually providing. So that's my thoughts on South of Midnight. I'm gonna stop there. I want to kind of get your guys' perspective on games that y'all played that the gameplay wasn't tight and the story was great, and then I want to get y'all perspective on South of Midnight in general and what your take on that is. So whoever want to start, go ahead.
Yeah, I think as gamers we need gameplay to reach a certain level of quality for it to be justified. But I'll say, like, yeah, there's some games that you can tolerate a little more as if the gameplay is not all that, if the story is really providing what you need on a regular pace. Like, if I have to work super hard in gameplay that I don't like just to get to the story, but it's too far and a few between, then it's not ever going to be worth it, because I feel like it's a chore to play the game to get to the part that I like. So as long as the gameplay, maybe it's not like Devil May Cry combat, but if it's fun, you feel like you got a lot of abilities that you like to use, and you're enjoying your time doing the gameplay, there's some time that you can forgive the small mistakes. So yeah, as long as the gameplay is okay, it's serviceable, it has some fun to it. It might not be that deep, but it has some fun. That's cool, but the story has to still provide the good stuff early on
Yeah.
and not go too long. Like the game can't be 50 hours and your gameplay is mediocre. So yeah, that's what I'll say. I'm okay with it so far going into it. The gameplay might not be all that. The story is good as long as it doesn't overstay its welcome. But as soon as I start getting bored of the gameplay, and I feel like the story I don't care anymore, then I'm gonna fall off. That happens with everything. That happens with Last of Us. That happens with God of War. God of War's gameplay is fun. I'm enjoying it. The story's good. All right, we've been doing this for 15 hours. I'm climbing this mountain. I'm getting bored. So yeah, it can happen to any game, but if your gameplay is not strong, it will happen a lot sooner.
The other detail, or you can go ahead and finish. My bad.
No, I'm good. You can go ahead.
The other detail I was gonna say about that is I'm gonna say my game, like I take care of my game or whatever with that. But if the game goes on too long, I mean, we play Persona 5, we play Persona 3. You kind of get to a point where you're like, all right, man, the gameplay was good, the story good and stuff, but I need to just see what happened next in the story, and I don't feel like undergoing these trials or tribulations because I'm getting a little burnt out on having to. Even though the gameplay is fun, it's getting a little repetitious because I've been doing it for like 40 hours, 50 hours. You know what I mean? So that's another aspect I add. I don't know a game off the top of my head where I really want to see the story, and then the gameplay was kind of inhibiting me because usually I don't get that far. I usually get sleepy. If I'm being completely honest, usually if it's games like that, it's like I say Persona 3 where I was getting a little fatigued from the game, but I don't think it was just strictly the gameplay. I think it just had how long the game was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a game off the top of my head, but I do have some like vice versa. I'm like, man, this gameplay kind of cool, man, but this story trash. Like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's telling. Do you? It's easy for you to engage with the gameplay more so than the story. It's easy for you to kind of like get lost in that and
oh
a
yeah,
storyline for sure. So
look at Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I mean, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm trying to box though. Like I'm trying to square up on them, bro. Like
man, that's
I'm trying to see the
that's a little
cutscenes
bit
and
more
stuff.
of your fandom with Dragon Ball than anything really. Because
Yeah, but the biggest thing was it's like it ain't necessarily the story. I want to see how they animate these cutscenes and
yeah,
things like that, and how they go back and tell the story, what music they use, how they choreograph the fights compared to like the show. You know what I mean? So I'm more so I guess that's a little bit more curiosity, but it's
yeah.
divergent from the topic. So I don't really have anything specific where I wanted to see the story, but the gameplay really just hindered me and was real stagnant. So it's usually the other way around for me.
Okay. Um. Well, I mean, yeah. Any other thoughts on Stop at Midnight before I move on then? Because I know I wanted to kind of get your opinion on that, but any other thoughts on that?
No, I didn't know that the game came from a book though. So I guess that makes it a little more interesting
Mm-hmm.
to me. That where the world of the story might feel more cohesive, as far as like the characters or like the world background.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. Like that's part of the reason where, I mean, The Witcher is popular now, but when it first was coming out, it was popular because of the books that came first, and a lot of people were talking about the stories, how well they were written, or the characters, and that was being translated to the games. So not to say this is like The Witcher, but I think it's cool. Maybe more games, stories adapted from books, instead of just people writing stories is trash.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely did give it a little bit more of a compelling thought, and like I said, because these type of games are so unique and different that I think they do deserve that time to kind of be reviewed and looked into a little bit more than, or given that pass a little bit more. But it also, I do appreciate them having like the ability to be on Game Pass to get to a better audience. I guess that I do think that that's cool. But I want it to stand on its own 2 feet too. I don't really want it to be like, oh, it's a Game Pass game. So I want it to be good. That's all I'm trying to get at. But what else? What else? What else? Monster Hunter Wilds performance. Just, are you still getting this game day one?
Yeah, I'll probably still get it day one. I'm cautious because like I didn't like World, and I feel like this is their follow up to World, so they're gonna lean a lot into that. And I just gotta wait and see how they're actually gonna handle it. Because my issue with World is just like the post game stuff and how grindy and like FOMO filled it was. And if they can avoid that, I might still enjoy it. I don't know about the story and like the inviting with your friends and stuff like that, but we'll wait and see. But I'm still think I'm gonna buy it. And I tried the benchmark as well. And you were gonna say about the performance.
Yeah.
That's being reported.
Performance on it is that it's basically kind of similar to Dragon's Dogma. Is a CPU heavy, and it basically your GPU can't really run it that well, so you basically best off pushing your graphics to the extreme so that you can get most of your work off of the CPU and onto the GPU. But that really doesn't leave you much wiggle room for optimization. Or the ability to actually optimize the gameplay or the graphics to run at a higher frame rate. So really, it does hinder the higher end and the lower end, and it's just because it's a problem. So obviously, this game can run on a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X. It should have no issues running on my PC. With a 7900 XTX in it, it shouldn't be an issue. Like, but I'm barely getting 60 because I'm like, it's literally maxing out everything to get the CPU to not throttle my GPU, and that's a optimization issue. That's a problem with their game and how they decided to make it. So, yeah, it's just another one of those things where I'm probably not gonna buy day one no more because I'm not interested in playing a poorly optimized game at this point. No more. I'm really not. And I'm kind of over it in a lot of degrees. If it runs okay on console, maybe, but at the same time, I was looking forward to paying a cheaper price on the PlayStation. I mean, on the PC. So I really don't find that. Go ahead.
Yeah, console, it might not be great as well. Like we haven't had the full reports of the console, but they were seeing their different quality modes, and the ray tracing mode can only do 40 FPS. If you're playing it with ray tracing mode, and so that definitely tells me, just like Dragon's Dogma, the console version is also going to struggle to do 60. We just got to wait to see if it's consistently, high 50s, or if it's a wide range.
Yeah. So I'm not. I wouldn't say that the game, the gameplay that I played was terrible or horrendous. It just literally was sitting at the 55-40 mark, 55-ish, 56 mark most of the time, and I was kind of like, it really shouldn't be doing this, and I really shouldn't have to even think about this because this game does not look up to snuff to be taxing my PC like this. So it's more of a just like, I'm cool because it was really a thing for me to try anyway. It wasn't like I was super anticipating it. I was more so going to try it because, again, Monster Hunters is one of those games where, as they continue to make it better, my interests have grown more so to it. Like I feel like Rise was just the fastest of the pace of those games yet, and I liked it, but it was kind of one of those things too where that loop is the issue for me. But if they're taking me on a journey, maybe I just play the journey. I'm happy with it because that's a combination of the two, and they make the gameplay a little bit faster. And I think it's just as you play the game more anyway, you just become a better hunter, and it's faster anyway. But I didn't give it enough shot because I'm just like, I'm over it by a certain period. So I really did want to try it, but honestly, it's just kind of similar to Dragon's Dogma. I'd rather wait till they do some patches, till they fix it and make it better, and then it's cheaper anyway, and then I don't have to feel like I'm wasting my money. So it is going to be a wait for me now, just off the benchmark stuff, but I do feel like at least the stuff that I've been seeing about the gameplay and about the monsters, it'll look cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing your take on it when you get to playing it and stuff and hearing about that. But yeah, that's all I got on the performance stuff. It just changes my thought process of when I pick it up. Anything final on that topic around the Monster Hunter?
I know you got some friends telling you to get Monster Hunter, Jalen. We hopping on it.
Of course you do.
He ain't say nothing about that mug. I mean, I might check it out, but we gotta see how that mug running, bro. You know, the game can't give me a solid, you know what I'm saying, the frame rate to get clunky and stuff like that. You know where that mug staying at, bro? Mug staying right on that shelf or digital market, if you will. Right? So, I mean, if I can't get like a solid 60 or 30 out of that, preferably 60, even if I gotta like put it into like a performance mode or something like that, man, then I don't know, bro. So
yeah. See, like I said, it depends. There could be a possibility on the PlayStation Pro that it does do okay. It could be a possibility on the PlayStation 5, but on the Xbox Series X or whatever, that it's okay. But I do see a lot of problems that we saw with Dragon's Dogma showcasing its head again on those consoles. So let's see. But overall, I still don't got no hate for the game. The game looks cool. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, bro, I'll wait. But that's pretty much it for us. I want to thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate you. If you got to this part, you're the real OG. Thank you again, per usual. If you want to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, really, I'm trying to get us out there. You can also check out clips and things like that on the BCD Universe channel, and I also throw up the whole video or the whole audio on there as well, so you can check out. So appreciate you being here. Thank you as always, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.